Humans are naturally drawn to tragedy, like a moth to a flame, and I couldn't help but shake the feeling that I was slowly headed towards a terrible disaster. My name is Detective Raymond Grey, and I'm investigating the murder of a 19-year-old girl named Clara Parker. She was stabbed at 12:45 a.m. December 7th, 1944. The only people near the scene of the crime was Clara's best friend, Julie Smith, and a late-night gas station worker by the name of Eddie Wilkins. Between the two, I didn't have a hard time finding my first lead. Eddie was the type of guy that made you uneasy when he walked in the room. The guy was a real creep, and it didn't help that he was as jumpy as a jackrabbit during hunting season. So I took him in for questioning.
So, why'd you do it, Eddie? You had a good life. Good friends, good family. You had a stable job. You got good grades in school. Why'd you throw it all away? So I'm gonna ask you one more time. Why'd you do it? Look, Eddie, we could do this all day. But all the evidence points to you. You were the only other person around besides your best friend during the time of the murder, and she says she saw you do it.
I swear it wasn't me. I could never do something like that.
That's what they all say. Alright. Tough guy. Then who did do it? She didn't just die of natural causes.
I don't know. You said she had a friend with her. Isn't she a suspect?
We already questioned her, and she thinks that you did it. Look, Eddie, look at this from my perspective. We got some random guy at the gas station where the girl was murdered. And then we have the girl's best friend who was with her at the time. Who do you think I'm gonna believe?
Maybe there was somebody else.
Oh yeah? Who?
I don't know. Somebody outside?
I'm sorry, Eddie, but you know how that sounds.
I'm not lying. I think I saw somebody outside.
Did you see his face?
No.
I'm sorry, Eddie, but then I can't help you. It wasn't me. You weren't on any drugs or intoxicated at the time.
Nope.
And your file says that you have no history of mental illness. Do you get angry easily?
No. Well, maybe sometimes.
Did you maybe get in a fight with Clara that night? You know, maybe an altercation. Maybe you got angry and you followed her outside. And then you stabbed her in cold blood.
She was stabbed?
And why would that matter?
The sight of blood makes me faint.
Why didn't you tell me that earlier?
I didn't think it mattered.
Of course it matters. I gotta go check something. You're not off the hook yet.
How could I have possibly overlooked such an important detail? Then again, he could be lying. But then why would he seem so surprised when I said she was stabbed? This all just doesn't add up. I need to find out if he was telling the truth. Well, one thing's for sure, if I even remotely believe him, I need to start looking for other leads. Could there have really been somebody else? There's only one way to know for sure. I need to talk to the one other person who was with Clara the night she was murdered, her best friend Julie Smith. If anybody's going to be able to tell me more about what happened, it's her. Like someone stranded at sea, I am once again lost with nowhere to turn. In what is usually one of the happiest and most joyful times of the year, all I feel is a bleak sadness, knowing that Clara's killer was probably still at large, and I'm not one bit closer to cracking this case. The world is a cold and unforgiving place, something that Clara's family knew all too well. There's only one greater pain than losing your daughter, and that pain is having lost them to someone who's split and still hasn't been caught. The guilt in knowing that is what drives me to bring justice. Julie was the type of dame that always spoke her mind. After losing her best friend, she became very angry at the world. I don't blame her for that.
Thanks for coming in on such short notice.
No problem, Detective.
So, Clara's mom told me you got a new boyfriend. How's he doing?
Oh, he's great, but he's more of a night owl.
So, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a few questions, if it's all right.
I assume that's why you called me here.
So, what really happened that night with Clara?
I already told you. Me and Clara got gas, and then she went inside to pay. She was talking to the guy at the counter, but he kept giving her weird looks. So we got out of there as quick as possible, and as we were walking out to her car, some guy wearing a hoodie grabbed her.
Did you happen to see his face?
No, he pushed me down when I tried to stop him, but I know it was that creep from the gas station.
We don't know that for sure.
Sure we don't.
So you didn't see anybody else at the gas station?
Excuse me, officer, but are you doubting my story?
Of course not. I'm just saying we have to consider every possibility.
I'm not lying. She was stabbed in the neck, Ray.
I know. I'm sorry. This must be extremely difficult for you. But I just can't help but feel that we're missing a piece of the puzzle. I just don't feel like Eddie is her killer.
Well, look, don't they usually return to the scene of the crime?
You're right. I could stake out and see if I see anybody suspicious.
Exactly.
It's a little risky. Maybe I should bring backup just in case.
That might be a bad idea. You don't want to draw too much attention. That might scare him off.
Thanks. I'll think about it. And you're sure you're not keeping anything from me?
Do you think I am?
I don't know. If my best friend died, I think I'd be a little more broken up about it.
Don't you ever say that! You don't know a goddamn thing I've been through!
I'm sorry.
You should be.
I feel terrible, but I can't help but the sneaking suspicion that she might be keeping something from me. I think it's extremely unlikely that a homicide this horrific and this violent was not premeditated in some way. There has to be a motivation. Julie says that Clara didn't have any other friends besides her, so that wasn't the motivation. Then what was it? I decided to take her advice and go back to the scene of the crime. How could a human being be filled with so much rage and malice? This world is filled with far too many hateful people. It seems like some people's moral compasses are far too easily shattered, like a broken heart. But in the end, I would never learn the answer to that question.